Hey everybody, welcome to World History. So today is our first section of notes on ancient Greece. So go ahead and get your notes out and let's get started. So for the purpose of introducing what we're going to be talking about region-wise, we're primarily going to be focusing down here in the Aegean and Ionian Seas near what is modern-day Greece. So our first section is talking about the early people of the Aegean. These are people that were there prior to what we consider in history the ancient Greeks that lived in this area, or the Mycenaean world, which was around 1300 BC or so. Europa, who was a Phoenician princess, remember we briefly talked about the Phoenicians last unit, had a major impact on the subsequent Greek culture. She married the king of Crete, which is this island right down here, and spreading her name to a new continent, of which was turned into Europe. So a little bit on the island of Crete itself. It was home to a brilliant early civilization, the Minoans. It was named after Minos, the legendary king of Crete. They were massively successful based on trade. They acquired ideas and technology such as writing and architecture, very heavily influenced by the Phoenicians as well. Egypt and Mesopotamia also had a major impact on them as well, again located on that island just to the south. Here are some images of Crete today. It is a wonderful tourist destination with some of the most beautiful beaches and coastline in the Mediterranean Sea. At Knossos, or what we assume to be the Minoan capital, we talk about some various pieces of art. We have some shrines or areas dedicated to honor gods and goddesses, and frescoes, which are pictured here, or watercolor paintings done on wet plaster. They worship the bull. It's why in a lot of their art we see bulls being depicted in a more religious figure. Also the importance of the sea. Now, something we associate with the Minoans in terms of Greek myth is they believe underneath the palace at Knossos was a labyrinth. And this is where we associate the Greek myth of the Minotaur and the labyrinth due to its association with a bull. So a little bit on some mythology. Of course, we have Daedalus and Icarus, who were an inventor and architect, said to have built Knossos and then invented wings to escape. And I'm sure you've heard the story of Daedalus and Icarus before, in which Icarus flew too high, close to the sun, and his wings melted, and then he fell to his death in the ocean. And like I mentioned, we have the labyrinth with Theseus and the Minotaur. Some people actually believe that myth inspired the modern-day novel of The Hunger Games, due to the fact that various groups would have to send kids into the labyrinth as a form of tribute to the Minoans. So we don't know what happened, but the Minoans just disappeared overnight. They were likely invaded by the Mycenaeans. Now, these are the first Greek-speaking people of whom we have a written record. Other possible theories include a massive tsunami. Others think a massive hurricane eruption. Again, we don't have a clear idea as to what did happen. So a little bit about Mycenae. They were Indo-European people. They were very successful at sea trading, inspired by the Phoenicians, and they dominated the Aegean world for about 200 years. They absorbed a lot of Egyptian and Mesopotamian influences and then passed that on to the Greeks later on. They also built separate city-states. We'll talk a lot more about city-states in section 2. Here's some images in terms of their communities that they would have established during the time, at least, and some of the ruins that are still there today. Now, it wouldn't be history class if we didn't do a war. The Trojan Wars. Mycenae is best remembered for this war that took place around 1250 BC. It was an economic rivalry, Mycenae versus Troy. And I mean, you also have to throw the idea of Helen of Troy on top of it, and the fact that Troy controlled straits, which were narrow water passages connecting the Mediterranean and the Black Seas that were extremely crucial for successful trade in the Mediterranean. It's considered a legend. The Trojan War is one of the most famous events that we associate with ancient Greece. evidence has emerged within the last 100 years to really show off some evidence of it. Now, we haven't gotten any clear evidence that there was a Trojan horse as we associate with the myth, but we do have evidence of an actual conflict taking place. Here's a painting of, I believe this is attacking the city of Troy, and this is supposed to be Achilles, if I remember correctly. So the fall of the Mycenae took place roughly in 1100, 900 BC. It was a very subtle fall from power. Their power just simply faded and declined, so did their influence. It led to the rise of the Dorians, another group in the region from the north specifically, who were also a Greek-speaking people. They resided mostly in the mountains of ancient Greece, and they eventually took over what had been part of the Mycenae civilization. Now, we also need to talk about some literature today and the rise of Homer. Now, these are epic poems describing the life of Greek people that are dated roughly to 1100 to 800 BC. We don't have an exact date on these. First up, we have the Iliad, and then we have the Odyssey. Now, the Iliad is talking about the Trojan War. This is where we get most of our information about the Trojan War. Has characters such as Achilles, who is the mightiest Greek warrior, who stubbornly avoids joining the war until his friend is killed, and then goes straight to the war, as pictured down here. Now, the Odyssey follows that of Odysseus and his struggle to return home following the Trojan War. The modern-day movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?, starring George Clooney, is a modern-day version of the Odyssey set in the 1920s. The Iliad covers Greek beliefs, and overall, and same in the Odyssey as well, showing that heroes displayed honor, courage, and eloquence, and it really established the myth around the importance of being a hero in the ancient Greek world. All right, that's it for notes for today. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.